Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are looking at a truly historic moment, a political shift that has just reshaped the landscape of the world's third largest economy. We're talking, of course, about the rise of Sanae Takaichi, who has just become Japan's first female prime minister.
It's an incredible moment.
It really is. And when you think about Japan, your mind immediately goes to deep-seated tradition, to discipline, order. But for, over a century, its political power quarters have been almost exclusively male.
Overwhelmingly, yes.
So our mission today is to dig into the sources, to really unpack who she is. How did she break that barrier, especially inside the very conservative LDP? And what does her vision mean for Japan's future?
And that's the key point. This story is so much more than just, inspiring political news. It's symbolic, of course. But we have to analyze the strategy here to get to the top job in a system like that.
Yeah.
A system that historically just wasn't built for women to advance, that takes more than just persistence.
It takes a certain kind of political genius?
It does. A deep, deep understanding of the power structures. How did she, a conservative defense hawk, navigate the factional maze of the Liberal Democratic Party to get this done? That's the real story.
Okay, so let's start that journey at the very beginning, her roots. She was born in 1961 in Nara. This is one of Japan's most ancient historical cities.
Right. So she grew up steeped in those traditional values you mentioned. Discipline, respect, hard work. And these aren't just, little footnotes about her childhood. They are the absolute bedrock of her political persona today.
What's fascinating, though, is the contrast. The person she is now versus the path she almost took. We see this very serious politician, but as a teenager, she wanted to be a singer.
She did. She played the guitar, performed at small local events. She actually dreamed of being a singer for a while. And I think that contrast is so important. The disciplined politician who once had these artistic ambitions, it really humanizes her.
It definitely does. So what was the turning point? When did that dream of public performance become a dream of public service?
It seems to have happened when she was at Kobe University studying political science. And the spark, funnily enough, came from abroad.
Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher. She was deeply inspired by her. And it wasn't just, simple admiration. She saw in Thatcher a model. She mentioned her confidence, strong voice, and clear vision. That's what planted the seed. The idea that a woman could absolutely lead a major industrial nation, even one as traditional as Japan.
And she didn't just admire from a distance, she went for it. She enrolled at the University of Southern California to study political economy.
And that time in the U.S. was absolutely critical. Imagine living abroad, navigating a totally different culture, speaking English every day. She often said that experience made her stronger, more open-minded about policy, but also sharpened her own core beliefs about Japan. It prepared her for what she was about to face back in Tokyo.
And what she faced back in late 1980s Tokyo was a brick wall.
Pretty much. A political landscape almost entirely controlled by men. The sources say that when she first declared she wanted to be a politician, people literally laughed. There was real doubt.
The system just wasn't built for someone like her.
Not at all. Especially not a woman with such strong, uncompromising views.
So her first move was incredibly smart. She didn't just jump into a campaign. She started as a secretary for a well-known politician.
Exactly. And you can't think of this as just grunt work. This was her real apprenticeship. She was getting an insider's view of the machinery, how laws get written, how money gets allocated, and, crucially, how power really works through those.
Quiet deals behind closed doors?
That's the phrase. That knowledge was absolutely invaluable.
And then she joins the most powerful group of all, the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP, at a time when there were very few women members, let alone women with any influence.
Her first campaign was brutal, just brutal. She was out there visiting towns, shaking hands, giving speeches, and she lost. The sources call it a painful experience. But here's the thing that defines her.
Her persistence.
Yes. She didn't quit. She didn't just disappear. She studied her mistakes. She refined her message, changed her entire approach.
And it worked. Second attempt, 1993, she wins a seat in the House of Representatives. And just like that, she's no longer an outsider. She's a real politician with a voice in Parliament.
But once you're inside the diet, the challenges just shift. They don't go away. She was up against these complex internal rules, older politicians who often just didn't take her seriously.
The sources say they found her too young, too honest, or simply too different.
Right, too honest for a culture that often values consensus and harmony over, direct confrontation. Her youth, her gender, it all amplified that sense of her being an outsider on the inside.
And what's so interesting is how she dealt with that. She carved out her own territory. Instead of fighting these political turf wars right away, she focused on policy.
Specific, tangible things, the economy, technology, and importantly, women's rights. Things like supporting small, female-run businesses. She knew that getting measurable results was the only way to earn the kind of respect that her identity alone wouldn't grant her.
And at the same time, she was building her ideological brand.
Oh, absolutely. She's a very outspoken conservative, a defense hawk, as the media calls her. She has always argued for greater military autonomy, a stronger national posture. And that position, while sometimes controversial, gave her powerful allies within the right wing of the LDP. It gave her a very clear identity.
She never softened that stance, did she? She refused to do it just to be more popular.
Never. And that uncompromising focus, that discipline, eventually led to her big breakthrough appointment.
The Minister of Internal Affairs and Communications, one of the most powerful cabinet roles.
A huge turning point. And in that job, she tackled a core weakness in the Japanese government.
Right. I mean, Japan is this global tech powerhouse, but its own government processes were famously analog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She used that position to push for radical digital modernization, improving internet infrastructure, streamlining networks. The goal was a more transparent, more efficient government.
And that showed she could deliver.
It proved she could execute on huge, complex reforms. That calm, firm, results-focused attitude became her trademark. There's that quote of hers, "If you believe you're doing the right thing, you must keep going even when it's hard."
That really sums it up.
It's the discipline that let her break through, layer by layer.
So if we were to synthesize her leadership style, what does it look like? It's not loud.
No, not at all. It's quiet authority. Intense preparation. She's not giving fiery speeches. She's calm, she's organized, always the first to arrive. Always maintains direct eye contact. The reputation is strict but fair.
Leadership by example.
Exactly. She expects hard work, but she listens. And when problems come up, her focus is instant solutions, not blame. That pragmatic approach built a lot of trust with her colleagues.
So that discipline, it's not just a habit. It's her whole political philosophy. It's rooted in personal responsibility.
Yes. And her vision for Japan is where it gets really complex and interesting. It's this powerful duality. She wants to combine deep tradition values like harmony, respect, honesty with incredibly aggressive modernization.
So keeping Japan's cultural core while making it more digital, more equal.
And more assertive on the world stage.
A big part of that modernization is economic, right? Supporting young entrepreneurs and especially creating more real opportunities for women to succeed.
That's the domestic pillar. And then you have the external one, national pride and defense. In this security environment in East Asia, she believes Japan has to be more active, more independent, strong enough to protect its own interests. That blend is what defines her whole mandate.
And that mandate finally came to a head on October 21st. Chagaru Ishiba resigns, and the House of Representatives gathers at 1 p.m. to choose the new prime minister.
And the result was a confirmation of her political skill. She secured 237 votes out of 465, a comfortable majority. And in that moment, she officially becomes Japan's 104th prime minister, the first woman to ever hold the office since the system began in 1885.
Just incredible. And her victory was locked in by the backing of the ruling LDP and their new coalition partner, the Japan Innovation Party, the JIP.
That political unity was key, and her cabinet choices show her strategic thinking. You've got major LDP figures like Toshimitsu Motei in Foreign Affairs, Shinjiro Chisumi in Defense, then Yoshimasa Hayashi in Internal Affairs, Minoru Kihara as the Chief Cabinet Secretary, and very importantly, the finance portfolio went to Satsuki Katayama, a very respected establishment figure. It's a solid, powerful cabinet.
It really is. And for her, at 64, after 3 decades of service, it's the culmination of everything. And you have to imagine the pride in her hometown of Nara. She's the first PM ever from that prefecture. Most come from political strongholds like Yamaguchi or Tokyo.
And her first statement was perfectly on brand. Measured, strategic. She just smiled and said, "This is a new chapter for Japan. I hope to build a country where every person can live with pride and purpose." A message designed to appeal to everyone, to traditionalists and to those wanting big change.
So what was the immediate reaction on the ground in Japan and around the world?
It really underscored the historic nature of it. In Tokyo, people were applauding as they watched the broadcast. Many women especially were on social media calling it a symbolic victory, proof that the highest glass ceiling was finally broken.
But the experts, of course, are quick to point out that the real work is just starting.
Of course, the challenges Japan faces are immense, and they are immediate. Stagnant economic growth, a serious ongoing population decline, and then all the geopolitical tensions in East Asia. Those problems don't wait.
And internationally.
The congratulations came in fast from the US, South Korea, European countries. And the foreign media coverage is pretty uniform. They describe her as tough, disciplined, and experienced operator, a view that's heavily shaped by her very consistent stance on national security.
And back home, among the public.
Cautious optimism, I'd say. The business community is hopeful because of her focus on digital development. But for ordinary citizens, the concerns are much more immediate. They're waiting to see her plans for better wages, more child support, national safety.
So she has to deliver on both security and prosperity.
Exactly. Her first press conference tried to unite those two ideas. She promised honesty and transparency, and she stated her mission very clearly: to protect Japan's peace and to build a society where everyone can live with confidence. Now she has to deliver.
So we've traced this incredible path, from a girl dreaming of being a singer to a political apprentice to this uncompromising leader who finally navigated the LDP to break a 138-year-old barrier. Her story is, if nothing else, a symbol that strategic, sustained change is possible, even in the most traditional systems.
It is. And her administration is now defined by this fundamental tension: the push for aggressive modernization, digital efficiency, domestic equality, and at the same time, a much stronger, more active defense policy in a really uncertain region. And considering the huge need for both national security spending and for addressing the domestic crisis of wages and population, that brings us to the final question. For you, our listener, to think about as her first year unfolds, which of these two major pillars, a significantly strengthened defense policy or robust domestic equality and economic support, will ultimately define the success or failure of this new chapter in Japanese history?